Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. That has been one of my favorite movies since I was a little kid. Like, I watched the movie and the cartoon.
I'm ready to party!
Bet you forgot about that one, didn't you? The idea of Beetlejuice has run through my veins quite literally my whole life. And with the new movie being out, I thought it would be the perfect time to do something fun, just to celebrate. The world that Barbara and Adam walk into after they draw the little door on the wall has always just fascinated me so much. Like the way the walls were built, the uneven ways the floors are, just the whole thing in general just really tickles my fancy. And today, I want to build my own version of the waiting room. But let's talk about this build first. So I'm thinking that the easiest and cheapest way of getting everything built and put together the fastest is to use my favorite thing, insulation board. But before I can do that, I need to test something. The walls themselves have kind of like a rough texture to them. It kind of looks like there are holes like randomly placed throughout the walls in this design. And there are a couple ways that I could do this, but I think the fastest way to do this is actually just spray paint directly onto this foam board. Now, if you're unfamiliar with insulation board and how paint actually handles being on insulation board, it eats right through it. Essentially, it leaves deep crevices and little bumpy textures all over it if you spray directly on it. Usually I would hate that and I would end up covering it all with Mod Podge first and then spray painting it, but I have a feeling that's going to work perfectly fine for this and might actually make it really easy to work with. So this is done with 2 coats on it, and so far it is doing exactly what I wanted it to, which thank goodness, because that's going to make this project so much easier. So I got to work painting each of the 3 panels I bought. The paint wasn't giving the kind of texture I wanted it to, and it ate into it a little bit, but not nearly the way that it does when I do this on accident. So to try to fix that, I started stabbing it with a clothespin to see if I could get it to have a similar effect. It worked, but it felt like it was going to be too much work to do all 3 panels like this. The next morning I stopped at St. Vincent to see if I could find some props to use in the set. Really, I was looking for anything older that looked like it belonged in the 80s. And though this type of thing was all over the store, I left mostly empty-handed with just a picture frame. Next, it was time to dirty up the walls. I took a sponge and a black paint water mixture to really grime up the walls. It got everywhere, so that obviously means it worked well. So I'm loving how this wall is coming out though. I did use a little can of texture spray on it just because I thought that it looked really cool. However, that can of texture spray was almost empty, so I'm gonna have to go and get another one, but I'm really a fan of what it's looking like so far with that spray. It's looking even more like the wall in the movie. So I think with the full can of it, it actually will. I just have to go get more. I also hung up this frame. I took a picture off the internet of a beach and put it on the inside. Don't look at it closely because it is not sized correctly. And you can kind of see where I stretched it a little and cut it in half. There's not really a lot left that I need to do. I need to finish the floor, which in the movie it is actually like really big white and black tiles. So I'm just gonna use white and black paper. And then all I have to do is like add little bits of decoration in. So I'll have like a table that'll go in front of the couch, a lamp, which the lamp I'm just going to use one I already have, but I'm going to change the light bulb color. But other than that, I think we're almost there. And this is turning out pretty cool. The next morning, it was time to put the floor down. The floor was essentially just 12 by 12 sheets of scrapbook paper, but it did the job. That was a lot of work. It doesn't feel that bad until you finally realize that scooting around on the floor is actually very uncomfortable. But it's done. And I think, minus the Christmas pillows and the teddy bear sitting on the couch, that it's looking really cool. I also made the handbook for the recently deceased and a little number strip for your waiting line time. And yes, I copied the numbers directly off of Beetlejuice's ticket. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is just kind of set everything up and find somebody or something or me to go inside the set so that I can photograph it. And lucky for me, my friend stopped by to pick up an outfit. So of course I drafted her to be the person in my set. We decided that the reason she died was that she fell on a bunch of glass ornaments at a holiday party. So I cut up an ornament and tried to make it look like little shards were sticking out of her face and neck. Not horrible for a very fast and random idea. Halfway through the shoot, I decided to jump into some of the shots with her. She looked kind of lonely on the sofa all by herself. And it is a waiting room after all. I didn't have a reason for me to be in there, but I gave myself a pretty gnarly wound in Photoshop during editing. I love it when a project is just easy, because this one was very easy. I don't really have a lot of things that I think I would have done differently. Really, the only thing that I had planned originally that didn't quite work was the texturing of the wall. I thought that the paint was going to eat right through it, and it didn't, which is weird because anytime I don't want it to, it definitely does. It did in a couple of spots, but not as many as I was hoping for, so the texture spray paint really solved the problem there. I'm just so happy that I had the idea to make the project because I just love Beetlejuice, and I don't think that's ever going to go away. I will be refashioning that wall in a little bit to do something else because as much as I love this set, I do have to take it down very soon. But don't worry, you'll get to see what that is fairly soon. But I would love it if you'd leave me a comment and let me know if you've ever actually watched that Beetlejuice cartoon too, because I can't be the only one. And if you have any cool little projects you're working on, I would love to hear about them below. So leave me a comment and I will see you next time.